From the Daily Caller, conservative host up and walks off of set of own show when co-host calls her a Nazi.
Who is that?
This is what I want to hear about.
It's really pretty.
It's about time a conservative host said, "I'm not going to stand for these psycho leftists calling us Nazis on the air." What a brave and just very very brave and proud individual.
Thank you.
Well, are we gonna play the clip?
We should.
What did you say that made her say you're a Nazi?
Well, hold on. Tell the story.
Okay, so we were doing a segment reacting to Ryan Girdusky getting kicked off of CNN for making the beeper joke at Mehdi Hassan.
Which was
And
not
this
a bad
is
joke.
this is You're on the Hills Rising.
Correct. This lady, Nomiki Konst, is like a former Bernie activist. I don't know what
lady?
Am I allowed to say that? This lady. But
Are they trans?
No, it's because when I was on with Piers Morgan, I have no idea who she is. She said my name like 5 times in a minute, and I was like, "Why is this lady yelling at me?" And she's like, "This lady."
And she accused him of misogyny for saying that.
For saying this lady? I didn't even see that clip. What?
Oh, you got to watch it. It's
so great.
anyway. Continue.
Okay, so we were reacting to this, and she goes on this long tangent about how Ryan Girdusky's problematic for all of these fake smears that she was running against him, and he's a personal friend of mine, so I was gonna defend him regardless. But also the joke was funny, and like, and he was also literally just called a Nazi by Mehdi Hassan. So I don't like the double standard was hilarious. But she keeps like insisting that I condemn Ryan, and I said I'm not gonna do that. And she says, "Well, you want to bring up Mehdi Hassan's problematic history? How about I bring up your Nazi writings from 10 years ago? I'm looking at it right now in Raw Story, but I'm not going to make this personal about you. I'm not going to bring that up." And I was like,
You just did.
First, you just brought it up. And also, what are you talking about? And I know actually what she was talking about, because this was a fake smear that was run by Media Matters. When I was in high school, I was dating a Jewish guy. Huge Nazi behavior, by the way. And we used to send jokes to each other. He'd send me jokes about like Catholics, like molesting school kids and altar boys, and I would send him Holocaust jokes, and that was like part of our banter. And someone from Media Matters screenshotted the Holocaust jokes.
Yeah, how did they get these messages?
They got them as soon as I entered the media business when I was like 22 years old. They went through my whole like Twitter history and just screenshotted it for future posterity.
What were you saying? Like, why is there a wooden door in the gas chambers? Like, what were you saying?
Yeah, stuff like that.
What? No. Come on. Like, how did they get access to your social media?
I don't know. They went through all my tweet history and just screenshotted these old tweets before I had a chance to delete them. Because again, I was like 22. I had no intention of being a public figure. I had no intention of working in media. It was kind of an accident. And so then they waited until 2018, which was like 6 or 7 years after this, because I was a teenager at the time. And they posted them in response to me suggesting that AOC and Rashida Tlaib were anti-Semitic. So they were like, look at this hypocrite. She's actually a anti-Semitic, like Nazi person. So she was talking about those tweets, but she didn't read enough of the Raw Story article to know what she was talking about. So anyway, the segment ends, and she immediately starts screeching at me about how I'm a Nazi and I do Nazi writings and Nazi comments, and I don't know how to debate because I always put the burden on her, which I'm pretty sure is how debate works. Like, if you make a claim, you should have to support it with evidence. And I had been on with her for 3 months at that point. This was not the first time we've had issues off air. So I just packed up my stuff and I left. And I told the producers, like, I'm not sitting next to a woman who just called me a Nazi. I'm out.
Good.
But you're still on the show.
Yeah.
So what happens after this?
Well, I mean, there's only so much I can say, but what I will share is that she's not going to be back on the show, from my understanding, from this point. It was suggested that I would have to work with her again, and I told them that was not happening, and was very clear about that. But one of the things that was crazy about it was I was supposed to be on the Monday before the election with her and Robbie Suave, the main host of the show. And when I made clear that I wasn't going to appear with someone who called me a Nazi again, they actually bumped me from that show instead of her. So I was off that Monday after this incident.
But you're on the show now, and she's gone.
Yeah, so I guess I won.
Yeah. Yes. So I was on Piers Morgan. I don't know who she is. I never heard her before. And so it was
It's really well known, Tim.
Her name's Nomiki.
Waja-
Is that how you say her name?
It was who was it? Was it you guys saw that? It was Vinny from PBD, right? Mm-hmm. And because I don't know who they're booking. All I know is I'm sitting here and I can hear things, and I'm staring at a camera and I don't have a screen. And it was Wajhat Ali, her, and me. I went on Piers Morgan's show with was it Brianna Joy Gray? I think it was. I think that's who it was.
Probably.
It was great. It was a normal segment, and after it ended, Piers was like, "Wow, that was really calm." Tim, congratulations on the family. And then Brenna was like, "Congratulations, Tim." And I was like, "Thank you so much." And that was it. And everyone commented like, "That's weird for Piers Morgan." Mm-hmm. So when I went on, that was the second time I went on. I went on the first time. I've done Fox News hits before. I've done whatever TV. I've done MSNBC before, and ABC. And it's usually like you sit there, you're very calm, and they'll say, "What say you, sir?" And you'll say, "Well, I think X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C. And if we do this, then maybe we'll see that." And then they go to the next person. "Well, what do you think?" This one, Piers, I don't know, I guess it's what people like on the internet. He asked me the question first, and I said, "Well, you know, Trump is going to have some difficulties with women, but I think a lot of women will hold their nose and vote for Donald Trump for economic reasons. But there are a lot of men who probably will not vote for a woman. How Kamala gets over that, I'm not quite sure." Then she starts talking, and she's screaming, saying Tim Pool's far right, his misogynist male audience, and I'm like, What's happening? Why is she yelling at me? And she was saying a bunch of crazy things that were completely fabricated. She was like, Tim Pool was a COVID denier who got COVID and then tried taking ivermectin. And I'm like, what? Like, none of that is true. She just made it all up. And so what happens is, I said, "Why is this lady saying my name so much?" And then she snapped. She's like, "This lady? I have a name. I still don't know."
It's like saying you people. You people.
And she said like, "I'm very well known. I'm on the internet."
Yeah, and I was like, I have no
said
idea.
I'm on the internet.
I think so.
I was like, I have no idea who you are.
But this is what she was like every segment on this show. Like, no matter what it was, even if it was something where, like, typically with like usually I can find common ground with plenty of Bernie people on economy stuff. It didn't matter what the segment was. Whatever I said, she was the opposite.
I think
and it was nasty.
I think she's a Republican, and she likes Donald Trump, and she knows that, you know, she's going to be the villain. So she can go on these shows and say, I'm gonna show them what liberals really are. I will do what must be done. And then, you know, her friend is like, "But they'll hate you. They'll call you a libtard." And she's like, "But it'll help Donald Trump win."
You're probably
And then she
right.
walks outside. They turn the camera on, and she goes, and then Trump wins.
A lot of the comments on the show whenever she was on, not just this segment, would say, "I want Nomiki to stay on through Election Day, even though she's so awful, because she's single-handedly helping Trump win."
And you want to see the reaction when Trump wins.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing. She did an electoral map where she had Kamala winning like 340, 350.
No.
Hey, Kyle Kalinske said that he thought Kamala could win Iowa and Florida.
Actually, I want to.
She had Texas, Iowa, and Florida. And the saddest thing is she was not on the day after Election Day, so she could grapple with how wrong her map was.
Well, first of all, though, for all the people that were playing at home, there were 10 million missing votes from the previous election. So
No. It's like 6 now.
Is it gone to 6?
Yeah, because they didn't.
6 is still a lot.
They're
6
still
million
counting,
less.
Alex.
I don't. So the population of America is
They're
350. The population of America is roughly 350 million.
So
Right.
there's let's do some quick math. Trump is up 4 million, and Kamala's down 6. So there's like 2 or 3 million votes.
I think she's like
less
3
votes.
right now, yeah.
Then in 2020,
Yeah, there's like 3 million less votes than in 2020.
it still seems like a lot of missing
Well, actually, I
votes.
can just get the hard number.
No,
Let me just-
because
Well,
it's,
you only need 40,000 in Pennsylvania or whatever. I mean, maybe
it was because they were mailed out last time. The 2020 election was
It's just
novel.
easier for people to vote.
It was like they mailed them out, and then they went out and they ballot
I'll just
harvested.
say this much. Donald Trump, when it came to in-person voting, won all 50 states, even the most liberal states. And when it came to mail-in ballots, Joe Biden won all 50 states. So,
Well,
I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, the thing is, like, low propensity voters are actually they never know what they're voting for. They never know why they're voting. Like, even people that are really informed are still mostly running on emotion. Like that's just kind of how human
it's like
beings
a gut
are.
instinct. And,
Yes.
And part of the Trump campaign strategy was deliberately to target low to mid propensity voters because, of course, in 2016, one of the big Trump effects was people who had either never voted before or were what they call delinquent voters had come out in droves for him.
That was why they set up the thing with The Undertaker, the podcast he did with the ex-professional wrestlers. They said there's a whole market here of people who would be sympathetic to his views but may not be seen as inherently political or willing to vote most of the time.
Right. Yeah. And also, just from like a campaign strategy point, reaching out to low propensity voters is cheaper and more efficient than trying to change people's mind, which is why I never thought Kamala could win, because her campaign strategy was to get disaffected Republicans. And you have to spend probably twice as much money and knock on someone's door probably 3 times as often for them to flip from a Republican to a Democrat. Whereas if you hit a low propensity voter 2 times, it doesn't cost nearly as much. It doesn't take nearly as much manpower to get those people to come out for you.
And Kamala had no campaign. She had nothing, no policies, because I went to that Kamala Harris rally that Beyonce didn't sing. And
you got gypped.
I got gypped. And not just me, but a lot of single mothers with their kids that weren't able to afford the Beyonce concert when she was actually doing a concert, wanted to see that.
Right.
Beyonce had a
What they
great
thought.
Oh, a clarification. Looks like the total is about 8 million.
Oh, so I'm right.
That doesn't make sense.
Point
Even
for
still-
the pimp on a blimp.
It was still just, it was about the fact that there were a bunch of mail out ballots.
Did these places really change their laws related to that much in the past 4 years?
I don't think they mailed ballots out the way they did, because I thought they went by the
states only
census.
have mail-in ballots. Like Oregon, it's only mail-in, so you can go vote on the day of the election, but you're just filling out a mail-in ballot and dropping it off.
What I mean is, during COVID they mailed them to people's homes.
I'm sorry.
A lot of states still did
I am
that,
wrong.
though.
I am wrong. I only counted. So keep talking. I'll do the hard.
So I could be wrong, but it's my understanding that in 2020, because of COVID, they mailed ballots out to anyone that was on the census, and then they sent people out to harvest those ballots. That's the way that I thought
it was local and state
4 million.
election officials that
4.1
had
million
changed the
is the
rules
difference.
in order to do that. I don't think that was because voting laws are not federal. They're
Yes,
state,
correct.
right?
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
But I think that I was under the impression, and again, I could be wrong. I was under the impression that the Democrats, or that the because of COVID, they changed things so that way they could mail ballots out to people's homes, anyone that was on the census, right? Because they had just done the census or whatever, and they mailed them out, and then because of COVID, they had people go out and collect the ballots. Now I could be wrong.
Well, I guess my point is I don't know how many of those states reversed those rules for 2024, because a lot of them kept the same rules in place.
So 4 million fewer people voted in 2024 than in 2020.
Well, Donald Trump had about the same numbers. I think he went up a few 100,000. But the drastic difference was Kamala. But she had no messaging. I went to that rally. It was all about abortion. It was literally, they would even say, Donald Trump is trying to control your uterus. So
I mean, that
That's
lie
how it was at the DNC, too.
That lie was exactly what they used all their money on Hollywood, all the Hollywood spokespeople that they had talking about. It was all about abortion, even though, again, low info voters might sway someone, not realizing that it wasn't anywhere on the ballot anyways, because he'd already said that I am not going to make any federal claim to any type of abortion ban.
The Democrats also only had about a 4 percentage point advantage on abortion. So they were running on an issue that wasn't a big, money, a big winner for them. Whereas Trump was up double digits on economy and immigration. Those were the top issues for voters. So you can't make up that deficit by just talking about abortion.
And then she kept copying his position. She's like,
No
She's
tax
like,
on
tax on tips. Sounds like a great idea.
Build that wall, make America great again.
We're not doing an EV mandate.
She definitely she said that deportations were on the table, before. I was like,
Oh, and she's
wow.
a gun owner, Phil.
Oh yeah,
remember?
she's a
She's
gun
got a
owner.
Glock.
Oh, yeah.
and she believes in stand your ground laws
Yeah,
in
yeah.
California.
Her-
Now, granted, she would not actually see any legal repercussions if that did happen. If she were to use a gun to defend herself in her own home, everybody else in California, you're going to jail forever.
As far as I'm concerned, the election was lost when they had the picture of Tim Walz playing Madden, and it's got the perfectly placed bottle of Mountain Dew that was literally just like, "Hello there, fellow gamers."
And the score at halftime was
he
0-0.
said, he said AOC loves doing pick sixes. Like he didn't even use the term right for pick sixes when you.
She knows how to run a pick
Yeah, she
six,
knows how to
yeah.
run a 6 picks. It's not a play you run.
Right.
It's like you have to. It's a turnover where you take the ball from the team and score a touchdown on an interception. So he just doesn't even know the basics of football, and he's supposedly a football coach.
A state championship winning football coach.
No, the thing is, he likely didn't write that.
Yeah, you're probably right,
It reads as fake. The picture reads as fake. You can't get away with that anymore.
Yeah.
For whatever you want to say about Donald Trump, if you don't like him, there is no other presidential candidate in history that can go work at McDonald's and not make it look like he's trying to placate you.
Yeah.
He's the only person who can do that. There is no other personality like him that could pull off something like that.
It is
will say-
hilarious that they put the bottle of Mountain Dew in there. That
was
like
the-
just
that-
over.
I saw that.
After the JD Vance thing
Yeah.
with like they'd call me racist
No,
for drinking Diet Mountain Dew.
And to be fair, the reason I say that is because JD Vance had his own fail. He like goes into a donut shop and it was the most awkward
That was
thing
so
I have
awkward.
ever. It was like he had never seen another human being before in his entire life. And I was like, just don't do this. You're great on the debate stage. You're extremely intelligent. Stop trying to look like a normal person.
Bill-
You're not.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.